everybody, Kane Webb here for BSO TV, and I'm coming at you with This Week in Gaming here on BSO TV. If you've been playing video games in 2025, then you know damn well that the game of the year right now is probably Marvel Rivals. And with Season 1.5 set to drop on February 21st, we have the introduction of two new characters. And interestingly, with these two new characters, two become four, as in the Fantastic Four. The two new additions are the other half of the Fantastic Four, and we have Johnny Storm coming in as a strategist, which should have been obvious, and we have Thing coming in, again with another obvious, as a vanguard, a tank. If you care, we have footage on screen showing you what the new movesets are going to look like, what the ultimates look like, and how you can combine them with other characters. Of course, you can just minimize and listen until we move on to the next subject if you would like to keep yourself surprised until the new characters drop and you can get your hands on them yourself. However, if you were a support main like myself, then the patch notes that are accompanying Season 1.5 are going to straight up break your heart. As supports, with the exception of Adam Warlock, have pretty much been nerfed in an effort to counter the three healer meta that a lot of people are running in competition in quick play, kind of make it even pointless for the other team to even try, since at all points there's a healer essentially keeping people alive with their ultimate. Adam Warlock is really the only person who received any kind of buffs with no nerf, and a lot of people would argue it's long overdue. He hasn't really been a guy that does a lot of damage for most people. It kind of takes a special Adam Warlock player to turn him into a viable threat. Now, Cloak and Dagger, on the other hand, they got hit with the Hammer of God. No longer can you stack their ultimate energy. Their ultimate. It's every lane. It doesn't matter if you dash back across it 3 different times. It's going to do the same amount, period, across the board. And the energy to activate it has gone up by 600 amount. To offset the lack of the fourth dash, you now get 250 healing per second, but the duration has been boosted or debuffed from 10 seconds to 8 seconds. Fortunately for Cloak and Dagger mains, the pause that the character takes when they do their thing, us against the world, and then they kind of stand up, and you were getting picked off by guys like Iron Man or Magneto during that dash when your character stopped, that has been reduced from 1 second to 0.67 seconds. And the healing effect from each segment, as I said, will not overlap, but the vulnerability inflicted on enemies from the Terror Cape, his little push cape, is now 28% instead of the original 20%. Similarly, Invisible Woman saw the cost for her ultimate go up about 300 points from 4,000 to 4,300. Loki got kind of a buff, but he also got kind of a nerf in that his ultimate now costs 4,000 instead of 3,400, but he does get 2 extra missiles. They've increased his Mystic Missile charges from 10 to 12. The one that really got hit hard was Luna, who now has her ultimate, Fate of Both Worlds. It now costs 4,500 points, which might be the most expensive ultimate in the game, thus reducing the amount of times people can pull that move off within a match. So people are probably going to be really happy about this, and I suspect there will be a swing going the other way after healers whine and complain for the better part of Season 1.5. I'm sure Season 2 will bring about some adjustments and some fine-tuning to make, some readjustments to the changes they've made here. I think for right now, they're just trying to knock healers down a peg and eliminate that triple healer meta, which honestly, I have no problem with. Staying on Marvel Rivals, but moving off of characters and onto the company itself, in unfortunate news, NetEase laid off the entire Seattle team, which was responsible for gameplay mechanics and level design. Now, I understand that there's a lot politically going on with China and the United States that we don't need to get into, and that tariffs may have played a role in this. But I'm going to say here what I said on Facebook, and that is this. I think it is immoral to get back at innocent civilians by firing them over something the leader of a country did. And I would feel the same way if this were happening to Chinese workers. I generally think that once you start firing people to get back at them for the actions of a political leader, you open the door to a lot of tomfoolery and really crappy actions that you can justify. Now, this is just firing, but Marvel Rivals is literally gaining players. And if anything, they should be onboarding people, not offboarding them. We didn't really get an explanation for this. I don't think we're going to. But there does seem to be a tiff going on back and forth with the moderator of the Marvel Rivals Discord, I believe, and the people who were let go. They had spoken up for themselves on Twitter, on something, and their posts were then brought up by the Discord moderators and slammed. So we might get an explanation just because the company might feel compelled to respond. But this isn't really how Asian they don't air their stuff in public. Like, an action is an action, and then they move on. And that's just the way they do business culturally over there. There's no personal is not really something that they like to get into. And that's fine. A lot of people would argue that's good. Leave the personal at home. Work is work. This isn't, a stereotype or anything. These are just cultural differences. But without the clarity, we just don't know. So all I can really say at this point, and all I feel comfortable saying, is it sucks for these people, and I hope they genuinely find new jobs, because they did a hell of a job with Marvel Rivals. I think everyone can agree on that. So the next bit of gaming news that I want to put you all on is an upcoming game on March 6th called Split Fiction. If you ever played the co-op game A Way Out, which was kind of like a Prison Break type game, but it was two players actually had to work together. It was a cooperative game. Or if you ever played It Takes Two, which won Game of the Year, so we're talking about a pretty popular game here. This is the same company, same concept, but the story this time is you have two authors who are convinced by a tech company to come to their facility, where what they do is they bring books to life through virtual reality and technology. These girls wind up getting trapped in each other's stories, and they have to work together to uncover what's going on with this tech company, why they're in danger, and, just the general japery that people get up to in games like this. The companies are usually up to no good. We'll find out more, but what I can say about Hazelight Studio is this. They haven't made a game that I haven't loved dearly, and Split Fiction looks to be absolutely no different. So March 6th, Hazelight Studio, the game's called Split Fiction. Again, if you buy this game, you can literally pick any friend and they can play it with you regardless of if they have the game or not. Hazelight Studio does a thing called a friend pass, where only one copy of the game is needed. They don't even have to be in the room. They can be somewhere else in the world. They will be able to download the game or play with you via the friend pass. I've not used it yet, but I've heard people rave about it simply because I have somebody here I can play with, so I don't get online to play with somebody for co-op games. I'll play with somebody in the house, but usually the wife. But In this case, I would definitely consider playing with a friend across just to play these games again. I love Hazelight Studios. I love what they do, and Split Fiction has my eyes laser focused on it, and I cannot wait to see that game and play it when it comes out on March 6th. The last thing I'm going to touch on before we get out of here is we got a brand new WWE 2K25 game coming. Now, if you play 2K24, it's a really quality game. If I had one complaint about it, it is that the showcase and the story mode for the Dark Horse can, at times, be impossible. I was doing the Hogan versus Warrior match in Showcase, and I beat the hell out of Hogan. I had all my health. I have the mini game set to press instead of tap, because I can never tap fast enough, so I do the accessibility option and set it to press. It wouldn't matter what point I was at in that match. Hogan would pick me up, and no matter how much health and stamina I had, he would literally bear hug me into submission within 2 seconds. Nothing I pressed could stop it. I had full health. I just hit my finisher, and this dude made me tap in 2 seconds. I had it on easy. I'm telling on myself here. I had it on easy, and he wiped the floor with me. I pray to the 2K25 gods that the AI is given a serious adjustment in this version, but we're going to have to wait and see. Because right now, the one thing that's holding 2K25 or to the 2K series back from being amazing is the absurd monetization for basic wrestlers that we all grew up with. And the dysfunctional AI that just decides to go on insane mode no matter what you've put the settings to. Just to see what would happen, I literally put all the AI settings to 0, and the AI actually got harder. I put it on easy, reduced their ability to 0, and it got harder. What? Please fix that, WWE. Please. So I think that's about it today. I hope you have enjoyed this segment. Keep it right here on BSO. And we will be back next week with more news on gaming right here on BSO TV.